South is the birthplace of all effects of motion, where reality ends and the illusion begins. South is the birthplace of ideal, which becomes more defined in ever-increasing solidity as the form of ideal contracts toward the north, into harmonic spheres, which are diffused into tenuity as they expand toward disappearance of the south inertial plane of their birth. South is the birthplace of time, which accelerates all effects of motion in relative ratios as it contracts toward the north, and decelerates them as it expands on its return to south. South is the aphelon point of all masses moving in orbits around a point of north. South is the birthplace of all dimensions of motion, which contract all their standard units of measurement as they concentrate in the electric stream flowing north, and expand those same standard units of measurement as they decentrate in the magnetic stream flowing south. North is the direction of instability and of the force of motion in opposition, where the opposites of every expression of energy meet in their maximum of expression. North is always the vortex of the whirlpool, at which every opposite expression of energy meets in bisexual union. North is the point where sex meets sex, where sexes meld as a bisexual one sex. North is the point of self-reproduction of the energy of its wave. North is the perihelion point of all masses moving in orbits around a point of north. North is the point where generation ends, degeneration begins, and reproduction repeats. Generation is a journey to north from south, and degeneration is a return. Reproduction is a repetition of that journey to mass from plane. North is the meeting point of all of the positive, negative, plus-minus male-female pressure walls, which have been erected toward both northerly overtone points of every wave to help sustain the illusion of stability, which this universe of motion constantly produces. Form in motion is a reflection of concept in inertia. Form is conceived in harmonic plane circles of non-motion and reflected in harmonic spheres of motion. North is the point of maximum instability, where the maximum gyroscopic motion of the universal machine lends its assistance in supporting the reflection of stability. The bisexual plane of the overtone of every wave is the flywheel of the universal machine, revolving with gyroscopic perfection of balance at an angle of 90 degrees to the inertial plane of concept of its wave of energy. In this reflected position, its resistance planes are parallel. There are no bevel gears, no precessional motions, and no intersecting planes. Gyroscopic imperfection of motion lies in precessional motion of wheels with bevel gears, and in intersecting planes of resisting pressures. No better example of gyroscopic imperfection of motion could be found than our own solar system, in which all of the planets revolve in planes of some variance to the solar equatorial plane, where resistant pressure walls intersect, and where precessional motion necessitates bevel gears for every wheel. The overtone plane of gyroscopic perfection is the plane where north meets south and east meets west in bisexual unity. The overtones of gyroscopic perfection are where the electric poles have contracted to a point, and where the ever-shortening positive cones of energy turn their outer positive contours to inner negative ones by expanding their bases through the planes of their apices. The planes of gyroscopic imperfection are the opposing planes of pressure walls ever moving tonally in locked potential positions toward the ultimate north of their waves of energy. I will read what is on this chart. The chart's called All Vortices Turn from West to East, and their apices point to north. Mass is accumulated around a vortex. A vortex is formed by the contraction of the axis of two opposing cones of energy. The greater the contraction, the greater the acceleration of motion within the vortex. So that is what is on that page that shows the chart that we have here. These planes of gyroscopic imperfection are the tonal positions of the elements of matter in which various states of energy are locked within ever-contracting pressure compartments of the cones of their waves. The opposing planes are the positive, negative, equal, and opposite actions and reactions, which constitute the more and the less of positive and negative action and reaction. At these planes, reproduction of motion is only possible through union. These planes are the planes of sex, male and female, which constitute the division of all effects of motion into the opposites of motion. North is the direction of the action of effort, as south is the direction of its reaction. North is the point toward which electricity apparently attempts to gather the universal substance together into one solid inert mass, but failing in this, it gathers an illusion of the substance into innumerable separate harmonic spheres through motion of the thinking process. All direction is an effect of gravitation and radiation. All gravitative effects are electrically dominated. All gravitative effects are the result of inhalation. All radiative effects are magnetically dominated. All radiative effects are the result of exhalation. Electricity moves always in the direction of north by the way of east. Magnetism moves always south by the way of west. Nature divides these pressure compartments into octaves, 4 of which are contracting pressures, which she gives to electric control, and the other 4 are expanding pressures, which she gives to magnetic control. Between the 3rd and the 4th pressure walls in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th octaves, the opposing pressures become so great that nature creates mid-tonal pressure compartments, where storm centers are much more concentrated and velocity of revolution is multiplied. Nature accumulates intensity of energy expression in every wave from the southerly inertial line of the inert gases to the northerly carbon line of maximum motion. The cones of energy within which all expression of motion are contained are ever changing their positions so that their apices are ever moving spirally away from points of concept and returning to those same points. The accompanying charts of the mechanics of motion will more clearly demonstrate nature's process of energy accumulation and distribution. The spiral direction of all motion is the cause of the 2 other opposites of direction known as east and west. East is a contraction of the inertial south of concept and memory of form toward the north, of reflection of concept through motion, and west is north's expansive return toward south. Motion cannot express itself in the direction of a straight line. Newton's first law of physics, which states that a moving body left to itself moves on forever in a straight line with a uniform velocity, is not in conformity with the laws of motion. In this universe of varying pressures, all masses floating in space constantly move in the direction of their changing potentials. This direction is always spiral. All motion being spiral, all direction being curved, and all pressure planes being conic sections, electric action cannot proceed directly north from south in a straight line, but must progress toward north in a spiral direction. All electropositive action proceeds northerly. As electropositive action proceeds northerly, it contracts. The direction